Novatos, thanks again for tuning in to yet another video. Memphis coming at you live from the West Coast, San Jose, California. So here we are. I'm going to give you guys a walk around on the Sportster. You guys can check it out. Now, it is hot today. Finally a hot day. Finally a hot day in California. So I'm in the shade. As always, I got my rash guard. It's warm, so we're gonna just look at this bike real quick. We're gonna do a quick walk around, or who knows, I mean quick, I'm not sure if I'll be able to do a quick walk around on this one. So let's just start with the front end, I guess. Let's go ahead and attach the camera to the helmet. That way I'm not shaking you guys out too much. You guys aren't too dizzy about it. I don't know if the camera's gonna be able to hold this temp. Man, I can't find this mount. All right, here we go. So it's hot today. I'm not sure if the camera's going to be able to handle the heat. This camera does tend to overheat. This is the GoPro Hero 11, and it does overheat.
6.5 hours later.
All right, so let's try to make this quick before the camera overheats. So we have, this is the Harley 2016 Sportster Roadster. So it's not like your regular Sportster. The front end is different and it has a different rake. This has a 28-degree rake, and like I said, it's got the inverted forks on the front. And then the Roadster, it also has a chop fender. You guys can see it's a full fender, and the rear suspension is, I believe, 13.5 inches. So the seat height on this bike, it's about 31 inches. So it sits taller. The suspension is improved compared to your regular Sportster, and you have the dual disc brakes. So I have dual disc brakes on this bike. So I have changed pretty much everything on the bike. I'm still working on the saddlebags. So we don't have saddlebags as of yet. I'm still prepping them for paint. So I changed the front fairing, the front fairing, the headlight, and the handguards. I've also changed those. Pretty much all the aesthetics have been updated compared to 2023. Yeah, I'm digging the way it handles. So we have the bigger fairing. You guys remember last year I had the burly fairing, the T-Sport tall fairing. It was good. I mean, wind protection, it was all right. But just the size of the fairing, you can see on the Road Warrior is, probably about twice as big. Not only is it wider, but you also have more coverage on the bottom. You guys remember the T-Sport fairing, it's it's small on the bottom and it narrows quite a bit on top. So this one, taller, wider. You also have different options when it comes to the height of the fairing. You could go up to 15, but from my experience, I had a 15-inch windshield. It was just too tall. All right, I'm 5'7", and the windshield was at my point of view. So it just bugged me. I switched back down. This is 13.5 because I chopped it. This was the 15-inch one. So instead of sending it back, paying $60 because the shipping it was pretty expensive, I just decided to trim it, chop it, and then now it's here. It's at 13.5. I believe it's a good size overall. So you guys are looking at the headlight. This is properly installed. I made my own relay. You guys can pretty much see that down here. I don't know if the camera's going to be at the right angle, but those are the relays for the light. I don't know. Like I said, like this mount is actually the wrong mount for this helmet. So you guys can see that I have my relays right here. So those are my relays for the LP6. I made my own harness. You could make your own harness, or you could just buy a plug and play. It's going to cost you about $220 plus tax. So that's for the LP6. I also have a bracket from Amazon, $12 bracket that's holding that light. Let me see if we could get a better angle. You can see it right here. I don't know if you guys can see it because of the angle of the camera, but this bracket was $12. Or you could buy a bracket specifically for this light. It'll set you back $160. You have a few different options. I'll make a video about that later. So LP6. Oh, and you guys also see the Custom Dynamics light bar. That is from Custom Dynamics. I decided to just go with Custom Dynamics because I've had aftermarket lights, all my turn signals on light bars, and the LEDs could just fail within a week or two, and I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna pay the extra, well, and it's not even that much, an extra $10, just so I could, you know that that the LEDs are gonna last a little bit longer than just 2 weeks. All right, and then we move up to the turn signals. Those are Rogue Rider Industry SIGs, I think that's what they call them. I've had the aftermarket Amazon China made ones. I don't know where these are made. These are probably also made in China, but the other ones, they only lasted me, like I said, 2 weeks, and then my LED started dying on that one. The one on the left side started dying, so that's what happened. So I decided to spend the extra money. These are only $89, and they're actually pretty bright. So these ones, let me see if I have the light. Yeah, these ones are different than your custom dynamics. You guys would have to see that video, but all your LEDs turn on this one. So you can see there's no ring, and then they all turn amber. So pretty neat. Not only, like I said, you get a little bit more additional lighting because all the LEDs turn on, not just the halo, and they all turn amber, not only just the the ones on the inside, which is pretty neat. I like it. I'm digging it, and you're also saving yourself, about $20 from the custom dynamics, or it might be $30. And then Harley Davidson, they also offer their own Screaming Eagle LED lighting, and I believe theirs is $140. So you're saving yourself quite a bit of money, and you get better lighting with the Rogue Rider Industry. So moving on down, we have the fuel tank, 4.5 gallon tank. I got this for a steal on eBay, absolute steal, $200 with that gas cap, a gasket, and the fuel pump, everything together, $200, an absolute steal. The fuel pump alone for this bike, you're looking at about $450 plus tax. So I believe I got a killer deal. Not, I prepped it, I painted it myself, had to do all the work, of course, but overall it was a great deal. The fuel pump was giving me some issues. Luckily, it was an electrical wire that was damaged. The previous guy tried to repair it. I'm guessing he doesn't know how to solder, because it was absolute garbage what he did to it. So I just trimmed it, repaired it, and now it works on the fly. Every time I hit that on ignition, it turns on. And, that wasn't the case before. Sometimes it would turn on, sometimes it didn't, depending on where the angle of the wire was. And that was pretty much, it. So we're looking at, of course, the side covers. I got the wrong ones. So I painted the new ones. And then when I went to install the new ones, this one has a little bit of a cutout. So 2014 and up is different. You have, I guess this is what's changed is here. I guess it's the return line. I'm not too sure, but the ones that I did have, this was fully sealed, and it wasn't fitting. No matter how much I was trying to, bang in that side cover, it just wasn't working. So then, of course, that's going to be the same deal for this side. All right, this one actually fell off on my night ride with the LP6. So I'm currently working on the side covers too. I ordered some TCMT side covers, high quality. I was impressed about the what is this? The trim, the gas, the temp, the oil cover, the oil trim. I was actually impressed because I ordered some other ones before, and this wasn't fitting properly. On the TCMT ones, they fit properly, and it looks really good. So I'm happy with the TCMT side covers. I don't remember the brand of the other ones that I got. I missed the Plex audio. You guys can see that as well. I have Plex audio. It's painted on both sides. It doesn't really fit the Roadster unless you put, of course, some spacers, and you guys can see what I have right there. Like I said, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I have a 3/4 spacer to move the fairing down. Like I said, this is the universal bracket. Plex Audio now offers more additional options. I don't know what's going to work with your bike, but as far as the Lowrider S universal bracket from Plex Audio, I just I had to move the bracket down because it was just sitting way too high. Plex Audio used to sit 3/4 of an inch higher than this, and of course you can see there's barely any room here for the Road Warrior fairing. So that's what happened with that, of course. So moved it down with some spacers. Everything's, you know, everything's being held by spacers. All right, Memphis shades, they don't make a fairing for this bike, so you can see this right here. Also another spacer, 3/4 spacer for the Road Warrior fairing. That's the only way to get it to fit with this bike. Like I said, there's also spacers on the bracket for the LP6. I don't know if you guys can see that right here. You have a 1/4 spacer here with the washer. So we have spacers here, we have spacers on the fairing, and then we have spacers on the Plex audio. This is 3/4, and like I said, it's because yeah, this bracket's not meant for this bike. The triple tree on this is bizarre. All right, it's recessed. You can see right here I have another spacer for the risers. This is a tapered spacer. It's because it's recessed. Now you can see right here on the top. You see how there's like a little bevel. It just won't sit flat, and it's the same story with the bottom of that triple tree. It's just the fork clamp. It's not gonna sit flush. So that's why I have a spacer on the top and the bottom. But the Plex audio, it needs it more for clearance, not just, of course, just for it, you know, for it to fit properly. And we also have a full fender on the rear. I just really like the way the full fender looks. I'm not a huge fan of the chop fenders, so that's why, you know, this is yet another full fender. This is from 2006. I like having the little cover right here, the ECU cover, only so I could, you know, get in there and remove the saddlebag. It just makes it a lot easier. That way I'm not trying to reach from back here and all the way to the front so I could get to this bolt right here. Because of course you have the saddlebag here, and it's difficult to kind of fit your hand underneath and below the saddlebag. So it's nice to be able to remove the seat, remove the ECU cover. It's a little hole right there on the top of or underneath the seat. There's a hole there, and I just remove that, and I can just reach around and pull the saddlebags off. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much the same. You have the S&S air breather.
6.5 hours later.
All right, so we're back. Camera overheated earlier. Like I said, it is hot today. The GoPro Hero 11, honestly, it overheats quite a bit. And that's only because I have the auto boost, or the stability, the image stability to the max, and then of course I'm recording in 5K. So if you want to extend your record time while you're walking and talking like this, you gotta shoot in probably 4K, 30 frames per second. With you know, the image stability on, but not, you know, to the max. So I was talking about, of course, the air breather. There is a little bit of a gap. You guys can see that. Oh, I also have the proper helmet for this mount, so you can see huge gap, but you don't really, you know, notice it. Like I said, this is meant for the Milwaukee 8. No, sorry. The backing plate is for the Sportster. The air cleaners for the Milwaukee 8. So you know what? I was actually wrong. It really doesn't matter. I mean, this is the way this is S&S has designed this. So it has that gap. Like I said, you don't notice it unless you're, you know, at this angle here. You know, there's a huge, like a 3-inch gap between the jug and the air breather. So like I said, scratch that about it being, I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but yes, that's the proper air breather for this bike. Oh, that's right, I also added the Saddlemen step-up seat. I like it. It looks really dang sexy. I like both of them. I have the Lepera kickflip, and I have this. I was worried about being pushed towards the front of the bike. Luckily, that's not the case. This one, you know, fits me about the same. If not, I'm just slightly, maybe about like a 1/4 inch, not noticeable. But what I've noticed on this seat, I don't really sit, you know, in this area. I sit kind of like in this area. So my butt is basically on top of this, and that gives me a lot of cushion. All right, so that's what, you know, that's what I was kind of worried about, because I saw this seat and I was kind of like, oh man, I'm gonna be sitting in this area, but that's not the case. My butt is like right here, so I'm pretty much 30% or 40% of my butt is on this this step up, this backrest. So I'm glad that's not the case. So on the Lepera, it's almost, you know, different because of the walls is a little bit, you know, taller. So I sit a little bit forward of the wall. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We have the Saddlemen step up, that's new as well, on top of, you know, recycling the fairing off of my Lowrider S, and then of course, you know, adding all of this stuff, the lighting, the relays. Maybe now you guys might get a better look at it with the proper mount. You can see right there, those are my relays. That wraps up, and of course it's connected to my OEM connector. You can see the video on TikTok. I also uploaded another explanation, but I'll be, you know, uploading all the install videos for the bike. And then we have, of course, the handguards. These are for a Road King. This is for a bagger. And the reason why I went with that is because of the clutch on my coffin style handguards. They were just knocking. You can hear it still knocking on this, but because this is plastic, it doesn't make that same sound. When I had the coffin style handguards, which is like 20 bucks, you know, a quarter of the price, it was just rattling. So that's what kind of annoyed me. I would never let go of my clutch. I tend to have, you know, my hands kind of free and stuff like that, but when I was riding with the other handguards, I would just hold the clutch lever from, you know, rattling on the other coffin style handguard. So far it's been pretty good. Like I said, I just had the issue with the fuel tank, with the pump, a faulty connection. And another, you know, during the build, I have it in another video, this was leaking. You know, I fixed that with a different crush washer, with a copper one. The one they provided, I believe it was alloy, but I switched over to a copper one, and that seems to have fixed that issue. It was a small, minor, little leak, but you know, it was a leak nonetheless, and you know, you can't have that kind of stuff. So same grips, same risers from before, from last year's video. These are made in China. This is Forbidden Motorcycles, tapered bars. You guys could watch last year's video, the walk around. It's pretty much the same. I just added the fuel tank, the fairing, the Plex audio. This is from, like I said, my Lowrider S. And I also added the oil cooler. So it's getting hot. The engine runs hot. You guys remember last year I was riding long range, highway, 90 miles per hour speed plus. I think I was close to 100 miles per hour consistently, you know, holding that RPM, air cooled. I noticed the temperature rising above 420 degrees on my DynoJet Power Vision, and I just, you know, I was just curious, hey, how hot is this thing really getting? So it's about 200 degrees off. So I was hitting about 220 degrees in my oil temp, and that's really, really hot for oil. That's when, you know, it starts to break down and not lubricate and cool the engine as it should. As soon as I let off the gas and got it back under 70 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour, my temperature dropped dramatically. So I went from 420 degrees, like I said, based off of the Power Vision, and went from 420, 430, and it dropped it down to 360, 370 degrees. So like I said, it's mainly because the transmission, it's a 5-gear transmission. You don't have a 6th gear, so once you get up to those high speeds, you know, the RPMs stay high, and then you start building, you know, temperature. You start building temperature, and I didn't have the oil cooler then. So maybe this year, during, you know, this summer riding, maybe I'll be able to drop, with just the oil cooler, I should be able to drop the oil temp by maybe 10 degrees. This is a slimline. It's not the bigger one. You can see it's a 6-row slimline oil cooler. I believe the other one's about 15 degrees, but this one, because it's just, you know, smaller profile, you don't really see it that much. So it should be about maybe 10 degrees difference. And you know, even if it is 10 degrees, that's a difference when it comes to 200, and you know, when you're pushing 220 on your oil, you know, that starts to get hot. So if you keep it under, you know, 200 degrees or 200 degrees right in that sweet spot, then that's pretty ideal. So we have that, and this piece hasn't really you know, I mean, I'm having a little bit of a clearance issue. I believe I discussed it in the first impressions video, but you can see how my oil filter is banging up against my lower mount. But it, like I said, it hasn't penetrated in that video. It hasn't penetrated the oil filter, so we're good. All All right, and I've been riding it like this for some time, and I've been getting on it like I've been abusing the bike. So luckily the oil filter has not penetrated, and I haven't had any leaks. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the club style, outlaw style of the Roadster, Sportster. I still have to, like I said, I still have to do the side covers. You know, I just got the wrong ones. I have the custom dynamics tail light, no circuit board. I'm gonna have videos on all of that, of course. And that's an Amazon tail light. That's a knockoff of the custom dynamics lay down license plate, high quality. It's really rough condition, but you guys can see I've sanded it down and I painted it, so it looks all right. You know, it looks pretty decent. This is the old color. I'll probably update the color. But you know what, for 40 bucks compared to the 120 that you pay from Custom Dynamics and Kuryakin, you know, that's really, it really is a good deal. So I have videos on all of this. Most of it is up on the channel, but I'll be getting, you know, I'll be getting around to publishing more videos. I have a ton of videos that I still have to work on from last build, which is, you know, last year. So there's the bike. You guys stay out there, stay safe. Let me know in the comments what do you guys think. I have videos on the social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, if you guys want to watch those. I have some install videos on TikTok if you want to look at those. You know, it's just longer format videos, but short, you know, compared to the YouTube videos. YouTube videos typically about 15 minutes, 12 minutes. TikTok videos, they're usually about 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I try to cut it down as much as possible and get a lot of the rambling out. So, guys, stay out there, stay safe. Don't believe everything you read. Life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.